This video here is designed for your solutions and extra practice. Just make sure you watch it to see that everything is explained the way it should be. Watch it to make sure that you understand the explanations. The first thing that we will do on this is talk about the guided instruction solutions, and then I'll give you some extra stuff to kind of look at. The last thing you want to be doing during this time is messing around, because if you have not finished all the video, then doing so would again take away from your participation. So watch along, make sure everything makes sense to you. If it doesn't, raise your hand and ask me, but this is how you check your guided instruction. This first question was asking about what are the variables in each graph, describe how the variables are related. In this first one, the variables are time and volume. If you said that, that is good. And what you should notice, because this is going up as time increases, comma, volume, because you notice as this goes forward, that goes up, volume also increases. And that's all you needed to know. Again, as time increases, volume increases because volume is going up. That would be the answer to question number 1. Question number 2, the variables are depth and temperature. Depth and temperature. And again, what you're looking at here is, again, this is always going to be the first thing you talk about. As depth increases, because depth will always go this way, but notice that as depth goes forward, the graph actually goes down. So as depth increases, comma, temperature decreases. And that would have been your answer for question number 2 if you did that the right way. And then question number 3, your variables are time and plant height. And what you should have said, again, this one always goes forward. As time increases, comma, height. If you notice, that's going up, also increases. And so that would be the answers that you should have said on question number 1, 2, and 3 if you did those the right way. So again, your variables are the labels. And this one, as time increases, it's going up, so volume increases. This one, as depth increases, it's going down, so temperature decreases. Here, as time increases, plant height increases. And again, everything you say starts with this horizontal bar. So as time increases, starts here. As depth increases, starts here. As time increases, starts there. Then you go to part 2, and they want you to match each graph with the table. This shouldn't have been so bad, just because if you look at what's going on, you notice that you have time is 1, distance is 60. This is definitely not 160. This is definitely not 160. That looks to be more like 160. And so looking at that, you also have 2, 120. This is definitely not 2, 120. That graph was already eliminated, but that looks more like 120. 3, 180. 2, 240, or 4, 240, which is somewhere around there. So this should have been A. One is at 80. 2 is at 125. So 1 at 80 means 1 here to 80. 2 is at 125, which would be pretty close. 3 is at 150, which again, based off of there, is pretty close. 4 at 140. This would be B. And this is 1's at 50. Notice that works. 2 is at 100. Notice how that works. 3 is at 150. Notice how that works. So this is C whenever you look at those. So before we move on and before we wrap this up, let's just look at some of these questions together. That's some extra practice questions, again, just to kind of talk about them. These, again, are questions that you're going to see on your quiz next week, so make sure you understand them so you can knock them out. They're also questions you're going to see on your test, so make sure you are aware of what's going on. It wants to know what the variables are in each graph. Again, it's kind of like question number 1. In this case, you're talking about time and temperature. And again, what you're looking at is, the phrase would be, again, based off of this, as time increases, temperature, because it's going up, also increases. So again, as time increases, temperature increases because it's going up. On this second one here, your variables are altitude and oxygen level. And so again, what you're looking at here, your phrase starts from here as altitude increases. Notice that this is now going down. So as altitude increases, the oxygen level decreases. And again, that's what you would have to say on that one. Alright. Another skill you're going to need on your test is the ability to kind of sketch a cheap graph. And so it's going to ask you to sketch a graph representing your distance from school as you leave your house and walk to school. So you will have to learn how to draw this cheap part here and then label your information. So this would be time and this would be distance, because as you walk, time goes forward, and of course this is your distance from school. And so you need those two labels because those are your two variables. Well, here's the thing you have to think about. When I first start, am I close or far away from school? It says your distance from school as you leave your house and walk to school. Well, of course, when I'm leaving my house, I am nowhere near school, and so I'm going to start here. But as time goes forward and as I walk, the distance from school should go down, which means that it would be something like this. Because again, think about it. When you go from home to school, you are far away from school, and as time goes forward, you slowly get closer and closer until you finally reach the school and you are where you need to be. Alright. Question number 3 is a little different. This wants you to sketch a similar graph, but it's the one as you leave school and walk to your house. So this is again distance from school, and this is again time, because you're talking about the amount of time you've been walking. But again, the question is, when you start, what is your distance from school? Is it a lot or is it a little? Well, if your distance from school as you leave school, so right now I am leaving school, which means that it should be 0. But as time goes and as I'm walking, I should get further and further and further away, which is why it would do something like this. Alright, so again, just kind of looking at that. If there's questions on this, again, pause the video, ask me about it so I can try to help you understand it, but that's pretty much what you're looking at. And then the last thing that I want to look at is another one of those tables. And again, just use your common sense. This here has 1 and 10 in it. So it has 1 as your time, distance is 10. That goes 110, this goes 110, this goes 130, which means it's got to be either one of these two. Looking at that, that says 220. Well, that's not 220, that says 230, and so this has to be A. Looking at this graph, it has 1 going to 30. This has 1 going to 10. This has 1 going to 30. The only option you could possibly have is this one. And then this one has 1 going to 10, which works. It has 2 going to 30, which works. 3 going to 40, which works. 4 going to 50. This has to be C. So again, checking all this out, keeping this in mind. It's a very basic skill that we had to learn today, but just make sure you understand how to work with the graphs and that you understand how to kind of see where your graph is going to go whenever you have to do a cheap sketch of it. So, as I said, ask questions about what you don't understand, and that represents the end of your day. So stay busy, find something to do, and again, ask questions over anything that you are lost on.